Cinematography is not beautiful. Cinematography serves a purpose. The film Blade Runner 2049, directed by Denis Villeneuve and captured by the experienced eye of cinematographer Roger Deakins, has some of the most stunning cinematography to date. The number of videos on YouTube titled Amazing Shots of Blade Runner 2049 makes that much clear. But the creator of these videos failed to understand that cinematography is not simply beautiful or amazing. Cinematography is not meant to overwhelm the audience with beauty. It is meant instead to bring the audience into the story. It is meant to serve the story. In their book, Looking at Movies: An Introduction to Film, Richard Barsom and Dave Monahan argue that although cinematography might seem to exist solely to please our eyes with beautiful images, it is in fact an intricate language. This intricate language, with a vocabulary and grammar of its own, should be informed first and foremost by the story which it is telling, not the perceived beauty of each individual frame. The film, Blade Runner 2049, is an immaculate example of this misconception about cinematography. It is easy to only applaud the cinematography of the film for its beauty rather than its deep meaning. The angles, the framing, and the color are all intentional and all express meaning within the context of the story. To quote Roger Deakins,
photography is not about creating beautiful shots, it's about creating a film that sustains the feel all the way through without losing the audience. Yeah, I mean, that's the trick. And I think if somebody says, oh, well, that was a really great movie, that's what I want to hear, not, oh, wasn't that a brilliant shot, or wasn't that brilliant, a brilliant camera move or brilliant photography, because then I think really it's taking the audience out of the film. They've not really seen the film as a whole piece,
Blade Runner 2049 uses static wide angles for a majority of its shots. This shows the audience as much of the setting as possible, allowing the movie to sustain the feel and immerse the audience in its world using cinematography. It is easy to write this intentional decision off as some arbitrary choice made to make the film look good, but it serves a purpose within the story. Denis Villeneuve and Roger Deakins want the world to feel big and the main character, Joe, to feel like he doesn't matter, like he's just a tiny piece of this dystopian and uncaring world. This idea is equally apparent in the narrative of the film. Joe is ultimately nobody. The memory he spends time chasing doesn't even belong to him. He is a replicant made in a factory. He's just an average Joe, there's nothing special about him, and the choice to make the setting so much bigger than Joe in the film's composition makes this idea all the more evident. Another brilliant example of cinematography in Blade Runner 2049 is the use of color. In the words of Denis Villeneuve himself,
I knew that I would be able to use, for instance, the color yellow as a meaning for me, and it's like a trend that you can follow in the movie. It's not, you don't have to know that to appreciate the movie, but it's there,
In the film, yellow shows up as a color symbolizing enlightenment. Scenes where Joe is finding clues to the mystery he is unraveling often have yellow in the composition. The library is bathed in yellow light. Wallace's lair is also painted with yellow light due to his focus on enlightenment and innovation. Orange symbolizes danger and confrontation, being associated with fire in the beginning of the film, and later showing itself in the heavy haze of Vegas. White symbolizes purity and truth in the film, and green symbolizes life. These colors are mostly seen with Anna Stelline, who represents life in the film because of the memories she gives to replicants, and represents truth and purity because she is the child of Deckard. The use of color in this movie does happen to make the shots look beautiful, but it is also motivated by the story the film is telling. The colors and the angles used create beautiful shots, but they aren't just beautiful, they're meaningful. Blade Runner 2049 is truly a visually unique film. It has callbacks to the original Blade Runner, but does not copy that style. Instead, Roger Deakins created a style of cinematography for this film that fits the world and the story. It is extremely hard to find through lines in Roger Deakins' cinematography because he creates a unique style of cinematography for each film he works on. 1917 is shot completely different from 2049. It is a simulated one-take with much more realistic colors, whereas 2049 is a hyper-realistic dystopian world filled with neon colors and is most certainly not shot in one-take style. All this to say that making a compilation of Roger Deakins' best shots or making a video about the amazing shots of Blade Runner 2049 misses the point. Cinematography is not about making frames that look beautiful when stripped out of context into a compilation with lo-fi music in the background. It is about making frames that are meaningful to the story they are telling. Cinematography is beautiful because it serves a purpose.